Screaming. It's the worst, right? Well, it doesn't have to be. Do you want to know how to stay calm when your child is screaming? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, all through the lens of the principles self-government. And in this video, we're talking about what to do when they're screaming at you. In this video, I'm going to share with you a short story of a real parent interaction. Then we're going to talk about how to get it so that that screaming does not trigger us, and then what we can do instead of those trigger behaviors that we don't want to keep doing going forward. The other day I was at the store and I heard some crying, really more like screaming, from a 4-year-old boy who was with his mother in the cereal aisle. As you might imagine, the 4-year-old boy wanted the cereal that looked more like a dessert. But the mother wanted the child to have a cereal that was a little bit more health conscious. The child started screaming and crying at the store for his mother to give him what he wanted. I watched out of the corner of my eye intently to see what this mother would do. Would she fall for the bait? Would she give in because it was happening in a public place? Or did she have some sort of a plan that would allow her to keep her parental authority and still give her child that was screaming in a public place a no answer? I would like to share with you that I was pleasantly surprised by this mother. While most parents have a tendency to give in to their child's screaming, this mother did have a bit of a plan. I saw her take a little step back. I saw her take a breath. Then she looked at her child with love and said, "You are screaming in the store because you're not getting what you want. This is a no. You don't get to have that cereal, and this is what we're going to do to fix this misbehavior." She started correcting the child, telling the child what they needed to do to fix their troubling behavior. The next thing I knew, the child was taking a deep breath. The child said, "Okay." He wasn't thrilled, but he also wasn't screaming or angry anymore. The mother moved on with confidence. I could tell she didn't feel bad about telling him this no answer right in public. She had a plan. There were certain words that she said to him that he apparently was prepared to hear because he accepted the words from her. Is it possible to be ready for any situation before it even occurs? Yes. Let's talk about what you can do so that you don't get sucked into the screaming and the power struggle, and what you can do to prepare yourself for any situation, literally anyone. If you've already subscribed to this channel, then you know that I love to share skills that you can really use and help you right in the minute. Well, this video is no different. Let's talk about some skills that you can use. Before we get into those skills, though, I do want to make sure that you understand just because your child is getting angry and screaming at you does not mean that you should panic. In fact, if you choose to panic, you'll actually have less of a positive impact on changing the behavior for your child. You need to stay calm and confident. You need to know what to do in that circumstance, which means that you need to be prepared ahead of time. When a person has self-government, that means that they can choose calmness regardless of what somebody else's behavior is. I want you to process that. When you are self-governed, when you know how to regulate yourself, you know how to understand cause and effect and to evaluate and analyze what's going on inside of you, you can choose calmness regardless of what anybody else around you is doing. This means that you don't have to blame other people. You also don't have to fall in any traps. Nobody can push your buttons. You maintain absolute confidence, complete control, and composure. This helps you no matter whether you're parenting another person or you're in any social situation. When you're trying to solve a problem with another person, you can be the person with the level head who guides everybody toward that calmness, toward understanding, and toward problem solving. So what do you do when that child is screaming at you? Well, you definitely don't scream back and you don't take it personal. We've talked about those things because we're saying no to power struggles. But what do we do? Well, if you are planned out ahead of time, hopefully you fall into your consistent pattern of having a script. But before we get to your script, let's talk about what type of a process you need to do inside your own head to make sure that you stay your course. Let's say you've read this book by Nicholeen Peck called Parenting a House United, and you've learned the steps for how to correct negative behaviors in a calm way, how to handle a person when they're completely out of control, and bring them back to a place of calmness as well. Maybe you've had that understanding already. Okay, so what are you going to do before you use those skills, those scripts, which are going to help you so much? You are going to stop yourself. Literally in your head, tell yourself, stop. They're screaming right now. That is an out of control behavior. Am I calm? So do you hear the dialogue that's going on inside? I'm giving myself an instruction. I'm analyzing what's happening around me, but then I turn the analysis on myself and I say, am I calm? If the answer is yes, then I'm going to go forward to using the plan, to using the scripts that I've prepared to use, that I've taught my children that I would use no matter what. But if the answer is no, then that cues my calm plan. So what is my calm plan? Well, I've already been giving you some of that. I've trained myself to have a certain dialogue inside my head. So first I start with those questions, those bits of analysis. But if the answer is no, then my plan is I need to remove myself so that I can fully focus on getting calm before I come back to a circumstance. Now, before you think removing yourself means I'm going to go away for an hour and a half and never come back, or maybe I'm going to go call my best friend and talk for the rest of the afternoon, no, that's not what I mean by remove myself. A person can get calm in 5 minutes or less if they want to. Well, at the moment of removing myself from a situation, because I've recognized that I am not calm, I want to get calm. So I'm going to go into my bedroom, that's one spot. And I'm going to probably say a prayer because I'm a praying person. I might sing a song that's uplifting to me. And then I'm going to start planning out exactly what words I'm going to say. When I did therapeutic treatment care for troubled teens, I literally had cue cards that would cue me to the words that I would say, what I had planned to do. And I would follow those cues exactly, even if it meant reading the card as I was talking to the person who was going out of control. So on my Teaching Self-Government website, I actually have cue cards to this day that people will use to help them stick with the skills that they learn in the program in the minute. So I highly recommend when you're getting the book, Parenting a House United, or any of the other resources, that you throw in those cue cards for some extra help. So let's talk about what one of those cue cards is going to cue you to do right in the moment when someone is yelling. Well, it's going to cue me, number one, to describe the situation to the other person. Now, I've already described it to myself, and I've gone through a calm plan, which I didn't go into all the details about, but I went into enough that hopefully you can start yourself on that journey. I'll talk a little bit more in other videos about that calm plan and what you can do to get increased calmness. What you would do is you now describe what the other person is doing to them. So it's like holding up a mirror so that they can see their own behavior. You say, right now you're screaming, and that's not having a calm voice. Now, my children understand the 4 basic skills of self-government, and they all contain a step, which is to have a calm face, voice, and body. So if I say to them, you are not having a calm voice, then they know what to do about that. But I don't leave it there. I say, when you choose not to have a calm voice and to scream like this, it actually gets you more upset. What you should do is choose to have a calm voice. Then I move into the consequence portion of the correction and how to practice things the right way with that particular youth or child. So teaching them that exact skill that they need, telling them ahead of time what they're going to need in the moment, and then prompting them right then, this is when you need it, before we do any of that correction, helps put them in front brain and prepares them to be successful in that correction. You are the tone setter in your home. Your calmness really is that powerful for all of the rest of the people around you. It has a domino effect. Just like screaming or anger could have a domino effect if you allow it. If you're wondering, how can I maintain more of this calmness? How can I improve on my calmness? Well, you're in luck, because the next video is going to be a deep dive into the calmness tools that you need in order to maintain calmness no matter what. That video is called The #1 Tool That Ends Power Struggles Without Punishment. Go to that video next. I'll see you there.